Welcome back, my dear students. This is Mahbub Sutarahi, Senior Lecturer of Master College, Department of Biology. My today's topic is the structure and function of heart. This is from chapter 6. Today's learning topic objectives are the structure of heart and the blood circulation process through heart. So, from today's lecture, you will be able to explain the structure of heart and the blood circulation process through heart. Now, the structure of heart. This is the structure of a heart. This is human heart, the diagram of human heart. Now, the heart is a triangular shaped. It is a triangular shaped, hollow, muscular pumping organ, which is situated in between the two lungs. You know, we have two lungs, the left lungs and the right lungs. In between two lungs, the heart is situated, which is just little bit left in the left side. Okay, it is surrounded by a thin membrane, which is called pericardium. That means this whole heart is surrounded by a thin membrane, which is called pericardium. The wall of the heart, this is the wall. The wall of the heart consists of three layers: the epicardium, myocardium, and endocardium. The epicardium. This is the outermost layer. This border, this indicates the epicardium. Okay. The epicardium is consists of connective tissue. Fat bodies are scattered on it. That means on the surface of the heart, that means on the outer surface of the epicardium, the fat bodies are scattered. Now, myocardium. Myocardium is situated in between the epicardium and the endocardium, that consists of strong involuntary muscles. This layer actually indicates the myocardium. So this is the epicardium, and this involuntary muscular layer is known as myocardium. The endocardium. Endocardium is the innermost layer by which the chambers of the heart are surrounded. It also covers the valves. That means this innermost layer is comprises of the endocardium. It also covers the valves. These are the valves, okay, which are formed by the endocardium. Okay, this is the three layers. Of heart is hollow. These are the inner part of heart, which are hollow. The upper and fourth chamber. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 4 chambers inside the heart. The upper 2 chambers are right atrium and left atrium, and the lower 2 chambers are left ventricle and right ventricle. The atria are separated by interatricular septum, and the ventricles are separated by interventricular septum. Okay. Now, the atria are comparatively thin walled. That means this wall of the atria is thin in comparison with the ventricle. The ventricles are thick walled. Okay. And the wall of ventricles are muscular and thick. The aperture between the 2 atria and the ventricle are guarded by valves. That means this is an atrium and this is a ventricle. In between this atrium and ventricle, there is an aperture, which is separated by a valve, pair of valve. In case of this left atrium and left ventricle, there is also a valve or aperture. The right auriculoventricular aperture is guarded by tricuspid valve, which is made up of 3 flaps. This is the right atrium, this is the right ventricle. The aperture in between this atrium and ventricle is known as auriculoventricular ventricular aperture, which is separated which is guarded by a valve, which is known as tricuspid valve, which have 3 flaps, just like this. 1, 2, and 3. Here are 3 flaps. It will open like or appears like these 3 flaps. It will open like this and close like this. This is tricuspid valve. You can level it over here, okay? Similarly, the left atrium and the left ventricle is also guarded by a valve which is called bicuspid valve, that is made up of 2 flaps. It will be look like this, 2 flaps, okay? When these 2 flaps open, the valve is opened, okay? Students, you should know one thing before the next point. That is, this is the right atrium and this is the right ventricle. This is the left atrium and this is the left ventricle. You have already known that there is a valve which is known as tricuspid valve, which is situated in between the right atrium and right ventricle. But one thing, that is, this is the right ventricle. So in between the right ventricle there is a passage to the pulmonary artery. In between this pulmonary artery and the right ventricle there is another valve. Similarly, in between the left ventricle and this is the aorta. So in between the aorta and the left ventricle there is another valve. Okay, there is another passage. This pair of valves is known as, these valves are known as semilunar valve. Now the question, why it is known as semilunar valve? You know, this is the structure of a lunar. When it becomes like this or it becomes like this, that is known as semilunar. So these are the structure of semilunar. So there are 2 semilunar valves that are, okay. So what happens? The opening of the aorta, that means this aorta, and pulmonary artery, and this is pulmonary artery, are guarded by valves called semilunar valves, which allows the transport of blood in one direction only and prevents the backflow of blood. What does it mean? It means when the blood is pumped and it goes through these channels, these will be closed at that time. So it will allow the blood to flow in this direction or in this direction only. If the blood wants to back again in the reverse direction, these valves resist the flow. So thus it prevents the backflow of blood. This is the structure of a heart, okay? Now the process through which the blood circulates through the whole body, the circulation of blood, okay? In this case you have to draw the diagram again and you must indicate the flow of blood. The blood is coming from where and is going where, okay? You have to indicate. I have indicated here with the help of 2 colors. One is blue color, another one is red. The blue color indicates the carbon dioxide enriched blood, and the red colors indicate the flow of oxygen enriched blood, okay? Now before starting this topic, I want to explain one thing, that is, the heart circulates blood through the whole body by continuous contraction and relaxation, okay? The contraction of heart is known as systole and the expansion or relaxation of heart is called diastole. A complete contraction and relaxation constitute the heartbeat, okay? Now the main point. The continuous contraction and relaxation of heart helps to transport blood throughout the whole body. First point. Second point, due to the relaxation of the atria, that means at first the atrium relaxes, that means it expands. These are the atrium, the right atrium and the left atrium. When the atrium expands, these two atrium expands, the blood enters into the heart from different parts of the body, such as deoxygenated blood through the superior vena cava and inferior vena cava enters the right atrium from different parts of the body. This is the right atrium. This is superior vena cava and this is inferior vena cava. Superior vena cava collects the upper part of the body and inferior vena cava collects the blood from the lower part of the body. So these two vena cava collects the blood from different parts of the body and that blood enters into the right atrium when it expands. At the same time, the left atrium also expands. So the oxygen-enriched blood, that means the blood that carries oxygen, that is present in the lungs. That blood, with the help of pulmonary vein, these two are the pulmonary vein and these two are the pulmonary veins. With the help of these veins, it enters into the left atrium. Okay, hence it is a two-dimensional diagram. So these two veins are just representing that these are the back part of this diagram. Okay, so with the help of pulmonary veins, the oxygen-enriched blood enters at the same time in the left atrium. It is coming from the lungs. Now, when the two ventricles contracts, that means the ventricles that are containing the carbon dioxide enriched blood and the oxygen enriched blood are contracted. Okay, so when the two ventricles contract, the deoxygenated blood from the right ventricle enters into the pulmonary artery. At this time, the tricuspid valve remains closed. That is why only the semilunar valve, which is situated in between the right ventricle and the pulmonary artery, it remains open. So at that time, when it contracts, the carbon dioxide enriched blood from the right atrium enters into the pulmonary artery and goes to the lungs. There, the blood is purified. When the two ventricles contract, deoxygenated blood from the right ventricle passes through the pulmonary artery towards the lungs, where the blood becomes purified. At the same time, the left ventricle contracts, so the oxygen-enriched blood which was present in this left ventricle, it also passes through the semilunar valve, and through this semilunar valve it goes to the aorta. It goes to the aorta and it is spread all over the body, which supplies oxygen to different parts of the body. At the same time, the oxygenated blood leaves the left ventricle through the aorta towards the body, through the aorta. Okay, the opening of both arteries, that means the aorta and the pulmonary artery. Aorta is one kind of artery and pulmonary artery. These two arteries, the opening of these two arteries, that is aorta and pulmonary artery, are closed by semilunar valve, which prevent the blood from returning to the ventricle. Okay, so now after passing through this aorta and the pulmonary artery, these two valves remain closed, so that the blood cannot return to the ventricle again. Okay, now thus the successive contraction and relaxation of atrium and ventricle help in continuous circulation of blood throughout the whole body. Actually, what is happening? Thus, successive contraction and relaxation of atrium and ventricle help in continuous transportation of blood. Now, if we want to sum up this thing or the whole process, at first the atrium contracts. At first the atrium relaxes. Then the blood, carbon dioxide enriched blood and oxygen enriched blood enters into the right atrium and left atrium respectively. Then the atrium contracts and the ventricle expands. So the carbon dioxide enriched blood from the right atrium enters into the right ventricle, and from the left atrium to the left ventricle, oxygen enriched blood enters. When the ventricle contracts, from the ventricles, the carbon dioxide enriched blood to the pulmonary artery goes to the lungs for purification, and the oxygen enriched blood from the left ventricle enters into the aorta, and it passes towards the whole body for supplying the blood to different organs or different parts of the body. Okay, so this is all from my today's topic, the structure of heart and the blood circulation process through heart. I hope today's lesson will be very much helpful to you. I will be back in next class with a new lesson. Till then, take care.